Good evening and welcome into a very exciting and fun new show. Familiar faces for any of you who might have listened to us before on the Rooster and the Villain podcast. That was a more international and premiere. Um, this show is called Jimmy and Jake's USL Championship Adventure. I am Jimmy Karn. I am from Michigan, so by default, I'm kind of a Detroit City FC fan. As I've found my way into this league. I got to go to a couple games last year, and looking forward to going to some more games this year. But I'm joined by familiar face, Jake Kenneke. And Jake, you want to introduce yourself?
I am Jake Kenneke. I'm from North Carolina originally. Due to me working for Uncle Sam for 6 years, I moved out to El Paso in 2010. So in August, it'll be 15 years I've been in the borderland. But yeah, this show is something we've been wanting to do. We both have a lot of love for the league, and Rooster and the Villain is, in my opinion, a really good Prem show. I mean, not biased at all, but we kind of wanted to, especially like after the announcement of a potential Division One league, we both wanted to share our love for this league, and we wanted to make sure that we did it as unbiased as possible. We wanted to cover the entire league in a fair way. But yeah, all jokes out of the way. Jimmy and I are really, really big fans of USL, really enjoy the product, and we wanted to bring you guys sort of a quick hit, 30 minutes plus or minus show covering the league.
Yeah, for sure. It should be quick, fast paced. Like I said, we're gonna have some fun. We like to poke fun at each other, so there will be definitely some of that. Like we mentioned, with me being a City fan, and Jake not enjoying the nerddom from Northern Guard as much. I'm sure we'll have some stuff to say to one another, but yeah. So let's get right into it. So what we're gonna do is Jake and I are going to cover the whole league, but in a week in, week out basis, I'm going to focus more on some of the Eastern Conference games and some of the teams that take part there. Jake's going to bring you more of the Western Conference coverage, but there will be some back and forth, and we'll kind of go grow from that way. Like this first week, we actually didn't get to see league runner-ups, Rhode Island versus Indy 11. They were both idle this week, so I'm taking on the two crossover games. The first one I wanted to bring up today is Las Vegas versus Tampa Bay. Las Vegas comes out with a 1-0 win at home. Home for Las Vegas, by the way, is Cashman Field in downtown Las Vegas. It is actually a converted baseball stadium. Las Vegas, when they took over the stadium, committed to building it more soccer specific. They've done some small projects to date, but right now their total capacity is 12,500. So like I mentioned, Vegas gets a win at home to start the season, 1-0 Pinzan in the 74th minute. Tampa Bay really dominated the game, 21 shots total, 3 on target, to Las Vegas is only 5 shots total, 2 on target. 63% possession for Tampa Bay, only 37% for the Lights. Some notes coming out of this game, players or other things that I might want to add. First off, for Tampa Bay, if you are getting used to them, they actually had a really good season, finished 4th in the Eastern Conference last year. A big player for them, especially with Cal Jennings moving on this season, is going to be Arteaga. He led Tampa Bay with 18 goals last year in 2024. He's been part of the Phoenix team that beat Charleston at home a couple years ago in the USL Championship title. Very good player. And then Las Vegas had a 31-point swing from 2023 to 2024, so huge improvement. However, they were so good that New Mexico said, "Hey, I really like your coach," and they went ahead and bought Dennis Sanchez from Las Vegas. So they have new coach Antonio Nocerino. Now, so after that first one, we're actually going to go across the map on our excellent USLC adventure here, and we're actually going to start at home for Jake Kenneke here. Jake, tell us a little bit about your first game.
Okay, so as some of you, if anyone follows me on social media at all last season, you know that I was not a happy fan I really, really love this club. I have the crest tattooed on my leg. Super big fan. And the beginning of this match was not great. So Marco Micheletto goes down in the box. Really bad tackle by Tony Alfaro. Literally in the second minute or in the first minute, dragged into the second minute, and Micheletto scores the penalty. After that, El Paso started getting it together. It sort of felt that Colorado had our number early on, and as things sort of evened out, one thing you can say about a Wilmer Cabrera-led team is they're going to be fighters. El Paso started pushing back. A turnover in the opponent's box, in Colorado's box. Frank DeRoma gets on it, and then has his pocket picked by his own teammate, Armando Moreno, sort of takes the ball off him. DeRoma freaks out. You see him just start like kind of jumping up and down, which, at 5'4" looks even funnier. Like a kid that you won't let play games on your phone. But Armando spins, scores a goal. We're tied 1-1. That's at the 43rd minute. Sort of just back and forth at that point. El Paso's getting some chances. We go into the 74th minute. I had actually texted Jimmy, what is this? Is this joy I'm feeling? And then Jonas Fjeldberg, who subbed on in the 68th minute, grabs onto a pass and then shoots the ball, which then deflects off Alfaro's calf. Jamali Waite, Locomotive's goalkeeper, had no chance. You see him just kind of freeze. That's got to be the worst feeling for a keeper, but freezes. Colorado goes up 2-1. And then again, if you've followed me on social media at any time, I do not like this guy, or I did not like this guy. Probably still don't. It's up in the air. Andy, in quotation marks, as the team calls him, Cabrera Jr. He is Wilmer Cabrera Jr. He's the coach's son. Grabs a hold of a ball. Daniel Carter, our lone man from Real España, from Honduras, target man magic, just kind of shields the ball with his back to the goal, lays it off to an on-running junior who had a couple minutes before had missed a point-blank header, which I let the chat know about as well. And he just boots it home, 90+2 at the death. Locomotive ties it 2-2. Great fight from Locomotive. We're going to have to give it a few more games to see what's going on, but I really, really liked what I saw from this team. And Colorado is no slouch. They might be the best team in the West.
They won the league last year. I would say, like, until they're beaten, they are the champions.
Yeah, I mean, losing Ronaldo Damas will hurt, but if they've proven anything, they proved that they could pick up where they left off. This season, I'm not necessarily expecting a super season from Locomotive, but what I want to see is fight, and I saw that on Saturday night. Very, very happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was. I did watch that one. It was an exciting game. All right, I'm going to take us from El Paso. We're going to stay in the southern part of the country. We're going to go east over to Miami for Miami's home opener against Detroit City FC at Pitbull Stadium, which is Florida International University's football. I think it's football stadium. It was a DCFC win. Good way to start the season against Miami. They were pretty hapless last year. Looks like it's going to be more of the same. 2-0 win for DCFC. A little bit more about Pitbull Stadium real quick. It does have a 20,000 capacity, but it is, I don't want to say the ugliest looking turf I've ever seen, but it's not pleasant color on television. That having been said, it's shared with the football team, so could be a little rough. Anyway, on to the game. For DCFC, Michael Bryant, he signed an extension in the offseason. Big part of what this club's done. He gets a goal in the 31st minute to start off the season, and then Connor Rutz late in the game just to ice it in the 87th minute. There was, for Miami, on top of being dominated, new signing Francisco Bonfiglio got a red card in the 42nd minute, and that all but sealed Miami's fate. Even though Detroit didn't really score, they did dominate in shots, had 10 total shots, 3 on target, 68% possession. Miami did get off 4 shots, only 2 on target, only had 32% possession. Again, down a man most of the game. But just some quick notes on those teams. As bad as Miami is, they didn't make a whole lot of additions. They did bring in a couple guys that are also Rans from the MLS, just to bring in some more experience. They were a very, very, very young team last year, and they did go through a coaching change. But Gavilanes is an attacker that did come over from last year. I did watch him in a couple games last year for Miami. Very exciting attacking midfield forward type player. He had 5 goals, 2 assists last year for Miami. So a good player to watch. So if you get a chance to watch one of their games, check him out. He's exciting. Great on the ball. And then for Detroit City, obviously we finished in 3rd last year. Great regular season for us. However, losing in the quarterfinals in PKs to Tampa Bay really hurt. So this season also came with some really big changes. 2 giant losses for Detroit this offseason. First being Maxi Rodriguez. And we're not going to talk about him today because Rhode Island didn't play, but he went on to Rhode Island, joins that very good team there. Great pickup for them. But then also the retirement of I think in Rooster in the Villain Land, he's somewhere in my top 5 or maybe in OLI, but Nate Steinwasser for DCFC hung him up at the end of last season. He was a very big part of what that club had done going from, back to Nisa days. And a local kid who played at Detroit Mercy. So, but good win for Detroit to start the season. We're going to miss Maxi and his goals. So we're going to find that goal contribution makeup, but the defense should still be good this season. So I'm looking forward to hopefully another playoff type season for Detroit. All right, going from Miami, Jake, where are you taking us to next on our trip here?
Just real quick, I want the record to state that I gave Steinwasser double birds before, and he saw it. Also, Miami has a former Locomotive player, Akinyode. That guy is really, really good. Supposed to be a center back. We played him pretty much wherever he could due to injuries last year. Like that guy a lot. We are heading to probably the second most boring game of the week. Tulsa at Phoenix. Tulsa ends up winning this game 1-0. Goal by Alexander DeLue, who actually is a Detroit boy as well, but not DCFC. Gold Star Detroit, who played in Nisa briefly and was supposedly owned by the Vatican. This game is one of those. That
league is nuts.
Yeah, this is one of those games that I call the Brighton special. From back in the day. Phoenix had 68% of the ball, 415 passes to 157, 7 shots, 3 on target, end up losing 1-0. Phoenix, I think, is a talented team. Tulsa sort of projected, I believe, in like the USL Power Rankings, they were projected near the bottom of the Western Conference, if I remember correctly. It'll be interesting to see what they do coming off this win. Phoenix, I'm not worried about them. They're the people there really, really care about them, and it seems like the ownership group wants to give them what they want. So we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, Phoenix just squeaked into the playoffs last year. But yeah, they do have good support. Obviously they won the title just 2 seasons ago. So definitely one that could bounce back. All right, so from where were we in Tulsa? I'm sorry. Oh, Phoenix.
Yeah.
From Phoenix, we're going all the way back across the country to Charleston, South Carolina. Patriot Point for Charleston Battery versus Louisville City FC. Kind of buried the lead here as far as Eastern Conference games go, as far as matchups go. These 2 teams have been I would say the class of the East for the last 2 years. Louisville City probably longer than that. Louisville City is perennially probably one of the best teams since I've started following USLC. They offer great support. We'll talk more about Lynn family here in a little bit, but this game was in Patriot Point. So Patriot Point is a shared soccer stadium with the College of Charleston. I've actually been a couple times, most recently with our good friend Mike Steenstra. We went down for a Charleston game a couple years ago. Great experience. I love Charleston as a city. It's a great place to watch a game. Small capacity. They can do. It is a natural grass stadium. The grass is beautiful. However, it's a small capacity. It's only a 5,000 seater with expanded seating. So it is a little tighter, but they have a good atmosphere in there. So for this game, right, like it's the number one, number two, both of them a little disappointed. Rhode Island beat both these teams on their way to a finals appearance last year, but I think Louisville City set some USLC records for goals and stuff like that last year. And then Ben Pierman, since he's came to Charleston, that team is just dominate possession, create good opportunities, stay well organized. So, for this game to be an opener is I really think was the biggest match, I guess, on paper coming into the weekend. It took until the second half for us to get a goal. We get Ray Serrano in the 53rd minute for Louisville, opening the scoring, followed shortly in the 63rd minute by Juan David Torres for the Battery. And then that's where it kind of goes off the rails for Charleston. Arturo Rodriguez in the 70th minute, he gets a red card. And then 6 minutes after that, Adrian Perez buries one for Louisville City FC. Kind of see the game out. But, you talk about stats, lots of action. There was 14 shots for Charleston, but only 2 on target, to Louisville's 11 shots, 5 on target. But Charleston dominated possession at home, as you'd think they normally would. 64% possession. Just couldn't get that final product to go for them. I still think that you're talking about the two best teams in the East, and I really like what Rhode Island has done, but just based on the core, the ethos of these teams, I think they're still the top two. Now we'll talk about some key losses for both of them. The top 2 scorers in the USL Championship last year were Nick Markanich and Wilson Harris. Markanich for the Battery, Player of the Year. Moves on to La Liga 2 team in Spain. And then Harris was sold to a first division team in Israel. So there goes all that scoring. So how do you replace it in Charleston? They go down to Tampa Bay. They pick up Cal Jennings. Cal Jennings, fantastic player. He's got 65 total goals the last 4 seasons in USL Championship. Great pickup for them. They won't miss any scoring. And then Louisville City also sold not Josh Winder, but his little brother Elijah, I believe, Winder, to the LA Galaxy. So, Louisville becomes kind of a professional development pathway, like guys going on to Europe or going on to MLS. They have a very, very good program. I am going down at the end of this month, actually in 2 weeks, for the Detroit City FC game at Lynn Family Stadium in Louisville. I'm very much looking forward to that. The stadium there is fantastic. I think they have like 15 or 16,000 capacity, but they sell out very regularly. It looks like the environment looks awesome on TV, so I'm excited for that game. All right, so Jake, where are you taking us to next?
So I just want to say that every image I see from that Charleston stadium makes me jealous. Like, I just want to go there and watch a game sometime. Charleston's a cool ass city too. So we are going to head to Sacramento for Sacramento Republic welcoming New Mexico United. I'm trying to stay professional. Lots from New Mexico to start the match. Lots of shots, lots of runs. Tomas Pondeca ends up hitting the post. And then a few minutes, literally a minute later in the 21st minute, great run from Akale. He feeds Hurst for the first goal. New Mexico goes up 1-0. And then sort of a boom play in the 43rd minute. Kalen Ryden drags Lewis Jamison down in the box. and ends up seeing red as he was the last man. Russell Cicerone ends up scoring the pen. Down a man, New Mexico actually continues to fight throughout this match. You can go back and you can look at the extended highlights. A lot of the second half is them still passing from the back, still trying to make runs, still holding onto the ball. I hate to admit it, but New Mexico is a very, very, very talented team. Another bang play. Lewis Jameson ends up scoring. Fought Mob, I guess, gave the player of the match to Cicerone, but if you ask me, it's got to be Lewis Jameson. The 22-year-old Scot had a hell of a game from, getting the pen, getting the guy a red, scoring the goal. Fantastic match for him. And I'm trying not to celebrate too hard that New Mexico United starts the season off 0-1.
Absolutely. All right. So from there, we're going back to the Southeast to Birmingham for Loudoun versus Birmingham. Both these teams missed the playoffs last year. Loudoun has made some improvements, but still struggling a little bit. But we're actually going to Birmingham to Protective Stadium. It's also UAB football's home. They have a 47,000 capacity. But the most Birmingham has is like 17 or 18,000 for Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup game. This game, Loudoun dominated pretty substantially. 3-1 win for Loudoun. Birmingham actually scored in the second minute, and then that was followed by a 5th-minute goal, a 33rd minute goal, and a 50th minute goal for Loudoun. Loudoun had 17 total shots, 8 on target, 54% of the ball. That really dominated Birmingham, who looked like they might be in trouble this year. Might be missing the playoffs for the second straight year. Some quick hitters on both teams. Loudoun doesn't sign a whole lot of or bring in a lot of new players. They did bring back a familiar name to anyone who's been around USLC for a long time. Moses Nyman. He actually made his debut in 2019 as a 15-year-old. He's the third youngest USL goal scorer in USLC history, behind only Alfonso Davies and Cade Cowell. So there's some fun data for you. And then for Birmingham, they bring in Trejo. Before he went, I think, overseas to Belgium, he did have 50 goal involvements in 81 games in the USL Championship. Excuse me. So a player to watch, certainly. So, Jake, where are we going for your next game?
Yeah, I just want to say Trejo and Damas being on the same team, goals are going to come in bunches for Birmingham. Not a lot to worry about there. Trejo was sort of one of the remnants of the USL being treated as a MLS minor league for a while. When Las Vegas was owned by LAFC, he was one of their contracted players. But yeah, that guy is good. Him and Damas are going to do damage together. Nice. So we are heading to Orange County, where Orange County welcomed Oakland Roots, winning 4-2. Oakland, going back to the NISA days, there was a running joke about them. I participated in it, about them being not a football club, but a T-shirt company. And definitely not a T-shirt company, definitely a full-fledged club. I'm happy to see what's going on with them. It'll be interesting.
I should have made you do the Eastern Conference just to ease up on your West Coast or your Western Conference biases, but
this isn't even a locomotive rivalry. It was just from the Bobcats fandom, but super proud of what that club's been able to accomplish. They have a really, really good relationship with the city, and they're playing in the fucking Coliseum this year, which is crazy. So 28th minute, Orange County gets a goal from Ryan Dogman. Long ball, sort of bounce around, rebound. There's a lot of rebounding goals in the Western Conference this year, or in this opening week. And then 48th minute, Ethan Zubak ends up scoring a goal. Insane shot, insane angle, kind of cuts onto his left foot on the right side of the goal, cuts onto his left foot, and just hammers this thing. Ethan Zubak is the winner of the most likely a Pokemon or slur award. Zubak, not quite sure about that or where that's from. In the 53rd minute, we have another Orange County goal from Nico Banalcazar. He also wins an award for most likely to be a villain from the Bible. So it's his debut. He came over from FC Cincinnati 2, scores on a free kick. Fantastic goal. This is one of the games, if you guys are fans of the league and you like goals, you need to go watch the extended highlights of this. They were banging them in. So we're up to 3-0 Orange County. Oakland in the 72nd minute, Wolfgang Prentice off a great diagonal ball ends up scoring, making it 3-1. 90+1. Kyle Scott from Orange County. Super clean one-timer. That guy, if you haven't seen that guy, great head of hair on that dude. And then a Boubacar NG penalty. He gets brought down in the box and sort of all for naught at that point. Oakland ends up getting their second goal off a penalty, and it ends 4-2. Fun back and forth game. This is one that kind of shows what the league can be, the firepower in the league. Super enjoyable West Coast matchup.
Nice, yeah, for sure. No, I did just catch the highlights of that one. Wasn't able to catch that game. All right, from there we're gonna go all the way back to the southeast. We're gonna go to North Carolina to Wake Med Park, home of the North Carolina FC. It is a grass complex, 10,000 capacity. They also share that with the North Carolina Courage of the NWSL. So they played Pittsburgh to a 1-1 tie. 22nd minute Conway goal for North Carolina gets them started, but then Augie Williams himself, who Pittsburgh just brought in this year, scores in the 57th minute to tie it up. Pittsburgh really dominated possession. They had 64% possession, 9 shots total, 5 on target to North Carolina's 6-2. Just some quick notes for both teams. Like I mentioned, Augie Williams is in for Pittsburgh. Coming into the season, he had 76 total goals, which is good for 6th most in league history. The man just scores goals. Again, scored first game for Pittsburgh, which they sorely needed a solid, a consistent goal scorer last year. So, and then for North Carolina, a fun player they brought in, Dolabella from Union Omaha. I read somewhere, I think on the USL Championship site, which if you haven't checked it out, by the way, go check it out. They have great content on there. Give you player overview or team overviews for the entire season and stuff like that. Certainly check that out. But I think on there I read that Dolabella is arguably one of the best players in League One the last couple of years. So kind of cool to see, players, kind of growing through the League One system and coming up into the championship. But yeah, certainly a player to keep an eye on for North Carolina this year. All right, where are you taking us to for your last game?
Yeah, so this is the last game, and unfortunately, probably should have formatted my notes a little bit better because this was the most boring match of the day. Monterey Bay heads over to San Antonio and loses 1-0. So 40th minute, you get a goal from San Antonio. Diego Pacheco, assisted by Mitchell Tainter. Funny name. So if you go and look at the stats, Monterey Bay had 0 shots on target, had 6 total shots, 0 on target, 0 big chances. The only reason I was interested in this game is former Locomotive player Miles Lyons starts. The goal itself was off a very long free kick. And once again, another bang play. Diogo Pacheco shoots it, and the fullback, Joel Garcia, or it might be Joel Garcia, sort of goes to take a knee, like sort of that knee block that a lot of defenders will do or indoor goalkeepers will do. And the ball goes through the 5-hole, hits off his thigh, and shoots the other way, fooling the keeper. And that was pretty much it. Monterey Bay had no answers. And after a performance like that, it'll be interesting to see where they go from there, because that was ugly.
Certainly. All right. From there, last game of the weekend, we go one more time towards the east, but it's actually a Western Conference team. It is a newly, I guess we'll use the word promoted team, but a team that came up from, they were a League One team last year. They are now a championship team. It is Lexington hosting Hartford Athletic. Lexington with a 2-0 win. They play at Lexington Sporting Club Stadium. I know that they also have a USL, is it Super League for the women, the D1 league. I believe they have a team in there. Both for Lexington, goals from Hafferty in the 9th minute and Goldthorpe in the 79th minute. Late red card at the end of the game there for Hartford. Lexington dominated with shots. They had 13 total shots to 5 on target. They only had 47% possession, but Hartford, with their 53% possession, only were able to muster 8 total shots. None of those on target. They are, in my opinion, probably going to be. They're going to be down there fighting Miami for the worst team, I think, this year. For Lexington, it's a great way for them to start their USL Championship adventure. Kind of like North Carolina got off to a nice little start last year, to get like a couple wins underneath your belt. Makes you feel good for the season. The one player I did want to mention for Lexington is Speedy Williams. Played last year for the championship Colorado Springs Switchbacks. That was actually his, as an individual player, his 4th USL championship winner's trophy, if you will, that he's collected in his career. He's 32 years old, brings a ton of experience to Lexington. A really good signing for them. So wanted to point him out. So Jake, before we wrap things up here, you wanted to mention like a player to watch, or what do we call in this segment?
So it's going to be my player of the week. But quick shout out to Logan Ketterer, finally freed from the Montreal asylum. Pretty much, he was like their third keeper, I believe. I think he only maybe got 1 start for them over time. That dude is a legend here in El Paso, and he's going to do great things for Lexington. But yeah, so wanted to do my player of the week. And I know no one's probably going to believe me, but I did do my due diligence on this. And the one guy that I came back with as my player of the week is Frank DeRoma from El Paso. 90 minutes, 1 assist, 2 chances created, 37 of 44 passes, 3 of 3 successful dribbles, 8 passes into the final third, 8 out of 9 ground duels won, and at 5'4", 1 out of 1 aerial duels won. The guy is a battery. It'll be interesting to see how he does playing a lot of games. He, I believe he's from Sierra Leone. Came to us from Tacoma Defiance, which I believe is an MLS minor league team or whatever for the Seattle squad. But this guy is super good. I wouldn't shut up about him in the group chat. Right place, right time. He is very, very good. Plays like a man twice his size, and he's just everywhere on the field. He's supposedly a defensive midfielder for us, but he was inside the opponent's box repeatedly throughout the game, getting turnovers, all that stuff. He might be my new favorite player, my player of the week for week 1, Frank DeRoma.
Nice. I think it's a fair shout out. I did, like I said, I watched that game and he was everywhere. And like I think initially he did stand out because he is a very short man. It's like you see Lionel Messi, right? Like, oh, that's what short looks like. But immediately he was everywhere. And very physical player. I think it's a great call out. All right, so I'm gonna do what I'm gonna call my Golden Glove power rankings. For me, that's a goalkeeper ranking, if you will. And for me right now, after week one, there is a tie for first place between Johan Penaranda and from FC Tulsa and Carlos Saldana from Detroit City FC. Both kept shutouts this week, and of the keepers that kept shutouts in week one, both had the most saves with two saves made. So without any real depth of data this early in the season, that's the easiest way to start. They're keeping a clean sheet on the season right now, so that's a big way to start. And then they're making some of the saves. It's not just uh, their defense, kept a Hartford blank or something like that. So for going forward, we will track that power ranking every week. It won't always be two players. We'll separate it down to one, and I'll give some more details as we grow throughout. So, Jake, we're at 36 minutes. How did we do? What do you think?
I enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. If I have time to get one more thing off, I just want to say it took them a couple years. Locomotive and Hummel finally got it right. I don't know if someone from Hummel got into their head and said, "Hey, you guys can make good kits," and they finally did it. Shout out to them. They got it together. The blue, the yellow, the graffiti. Locomotive doing it right. Hopefully continues to do it right for the rest of the season.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on our week one review show. Jake, thank you as always for taking us on an adventure. It was good talking to you, bud. We'll do it again next week.
Yes, sir. Good to hear from you.